boy, how you doing? Good morning. Well, good morning for me right now. It's around 8 AM. I'm here in Norbury Park, which is just like 30 minutes in the south from London. My goal is actually to climb up a hill just up there. I've been there before because actually I just want to get a little bit of a sunrise, what is coming up there. But of course in this video I will talk about if low self-esteem can come from someone with a narcissistic personality disorder. So I will share my own personal view and experiences on that, and of course then you can be the judge if that is actually be the case. And of course I will also talk about how to overcome that. So as you can see, it has been frozen last night, so everything is a little bit white. Anyway, I need to keep moving because otherwise I might be missing great shots from the sunrise. So what is a narcissist exactly? The thing is, someone with a narcissistic personality disorder is someone who grew up without any recognition, without any kind of approval, love, attention, that sort of things, and they constantly got neglected. So they got constantly pulled down, like you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, and that sort of things, and that person really starts to believe that, or you know, they get like high expectations on themselves, and now they really want to prove themselves to the outside world, and actually their internal world exists nothing than fear. So they create a wall around themselves, and on the outside of the wall they want to have a perfect picture, a perfect identity with success and accomplishments and material things and the most beautiful romantic relationships, but actually that's only for a very short period of time. So if you grow up with someone like that, you know, eventually they do to you what they are being taught how to treat other people and how they were treated themselves. So they don't really know how to, you know, give people recognition, love and attention, and they are basically like energy vampires. And that's kind of how I grew up myself. So I will share a little bit more about that when we move further. Another southwestern railway. So let's keep moving.
Stand still. Oh, I need to stand still. Stand still. Stand still. Please be with me tonight. I don't like this old game that I'm in. How I want to start over again.
So as a vlogger, you sometimes have an idea in your head, you have a vision in your head that you want to get done, that you want to accomplish. And my entire idea is to make a little time lapse of when the sun is rising and having beautiful winter days like this. It's very rare in the UK because most of the times it's always cloudy, raining, like you saw in my last vlog. And I'm trying to climb up this hill while talking, not a good combination. And basically what I now realize, because I'm still like a beginner, what I realized is that I actually had to be on the top of the hill at least at 8 AM. So I completely must have missed my spot. And tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, rain. Otherwise I would have come back to do this all over again. But anyway, let's try to make the best out of it. Right, so the thing is just my external microphone died, and I don't want to take any risk because it can always be a little bit windy when I'm here on the hills. But let's get back to the whole thing, the whole purpose of this video, the meat and potatoes, and that is of course the question: can low self-esteem be caused from someone with a narcissistic personality disorder? You see, in some way we all have a little bit of narcissistic traits, because really that's a little bit the world we live in and we grow up with, which has a lot to do of course with this world of consumerism, materialism, and of course that we are really focused on getting a so-called physical identity. That's, we want to make sure that our external world looks great in the eyes of others. But a narcissistic personality disorder goes a lot further than that. It is basically from someone who's struggling with a very deep emptiness inside himself, and with a lot of fear that he's not good enough and that sort of things. And of course he wants to show to the outside world how great he actually really is, he or she, and is projecting his fears, his insecurities on someone else. So the low self-esteem from someone with a narcissistic personality disorder get actually projected on someone else and gets passed on to someone else. So my story is, I grew up with only my father, and I strongly believe, actually I became aware of that only since last year, that he unfortunately might suffer or might have suffered from this disorder. And when I look back to my childhood, yeah, I can really see back how it affected me for more than 10 years, and since the last 10 years I've been working on yeah, to heal and recover from that, to clear all these yeah, negative beliefs that I carried inside of me, you know, that I had to clear all this darkness inside of me, which is, I can write books about that, so I'm trying to keep it as short as humanly possible. But when I look back, when I was about 14 years old, I felt the pressure from home because my parents went through a divorce, and there were like a lot of cases in courthouse because they couldn't really get to any agreements. There was always someone who had to get his rights. As long as he could get his rights, which he never won, probably he made it feel a little bit better. But yeah, there was always like a lot of stress. And when he came home, I found myself in a lot of distractions and addictions, like playing video games, and I played a lot of video games. I skipped classes in order to do so. I started smoking when I was 12 years old, which is also a great way to suppress your emotions. Drinking when I was 14 years old. So these were great distractions. Also, you know, started working when I was 14. Started working in agriculture. So every time when he came home, it always felt like, will he peacefully neglect me, so, you know, at least I can stay invisible? Or would he come home again with some horrible mood and throw his emotional garbage all over me? His anger, frustrations, disappointments, and so forth. And yeah, basically my own soul became more and more buried under a layer of negativity, a layer of dirt, a layer of mud. I always say it in that way. And that kept going for more than 10 years. And yeah, what happened next how I slowly started discovered how it affected me. That already started in 2006, and what happened there is what I will share with you a little bit later down this video. So back in 2006, when I was about 20 years old, before that time I was working for a local Mercedes-Benz company, and that was of course the time that I got inspired by entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, you know, because yeah, finances were always very tight in our households. That's why I started working myself when I was 14 years old. And of course what we did in our spare time, me and my father, was always going to yachting harbors and dream that someday we can have wealth ourselves. So that's why I started my first local car cleaning business when I was 20 years old. Yeah, 1-2 years later, of course I was able to drive a better car, to buy a catamaran, sailing boats, and I was sailing on the lake. And when I always came back from sailing, I always felt in some very deep feeling of emptiness, and I thought, well, if I only had a girlfriend, maybe then everything would be better. And long story short, but that eventually led me all the way to Peru in 2007. And when I came back, my entire perception of everything, the world, society, everything started to change. And that was for me the beginning where I created a lot of resistance against my external world, the economy, society, and that sort of things. So what happened next when I in 2008, what happened next is what I will share with you a little bit later. Hopefully I can still make it, because it's quite cold and my batteries are running out very quickly. It's only 10:30 and this is my second battery that I'm running out. It's also my last battery that is running out, so I'm not really sure if I can still make it and finish this video. So 2008, 2009 was again a time of a big turning point, where I really started to suffer from my low self-esteem, because, you know, I came out of college, graduated, got the advice, you know, it's better maybe you should apply for a job that you actually studied for and stop with your car cleaning business. And I thought, yeah, you know, he might have a good point, because, you know, I didn't really study to continue to clean cars, even though I was making good money with that, 2,000, 4,000 euros a month, part-time. But yeah, I sold all my stuff, I sold all my equipment, and found a job in the shipping industry as a shipping agent. And within weeks I started to feel like, you know, I don't really belong here, and that has been always been a very big issue for me, like finding my place to belong here. And I really started to suffer from that, yeah, when I was working in a shipping company. And eventually that led me to a very big depression. And I thought, well, you know, if I only study harder, if I get more certificates, more degrees, then I can find a better job and a bigger salary and that sort of things. And that's also what I did. But eventually when I got there, you know, it only became worse. Like, you know, this is not really what I expected. I made my additional studies in custom clearance and that sort of things, and it was so unbelievably boring and energy draining that yeah, that within a couple of weeks, 3 months, I said, you know, sorry, but this is not it. I need to work again for myself. I need to go and work again for myself. And I got inspired by, you know, these adverts that you see all around right now nowadays, like, hey, learn how to start your own online business. So I went to a couple of internet marketing workshops, and I decided, yeah, you know, I want to have that kind of financial independence, freedom to go anywhere I want. Because also at that time I had like a long distance relationship with someone who was living in Spain, so that also became like a very big motivation, like, you know, I wanna make money online. So very long story short, but that didn't really happen in my first 2.5 years, and during that time 2009 all the way to the end of 2011, I was basically just jumping from job to job to job. Eventually I got a job working in a port, loading and discharging cars, and it really helped me to start to become a little bit more humble, because really that was something I had to learn, because I had this narcissistic traits myself, you know, because that's what I was taught in my childhood. So I adapted to that behavior. So I really had to learn to become humble. And yeah, long story short, but I started to blog and write a lot, and start making YouTube videos back from 2011. And yeah, long story short, but eventually I started to make money online. And first it went for a few thousand euros a month to 5, 6, 7, 10, 15,000 euros a month. And once I hit that point, of course, you know, what do you do? Like, you say to yourself, finally, I made it. I am all there. I am done. I am done with everything. You think you have the freedom. You believe that you deserved. But that was so unbelievably disappointing. Like, okay, so now what? Now what am I supposed to do with my life? You know, I have the car, I'm traveling around, and again, I still had that very, very deep sense of emptiness. So that opened up another chapter, and that last chapter is what I will share with you in the last part of this video. So I'm trying to find my way back down the hill. I was just on top of the hill, which was quite impressive. As you might expect it, both my batteries for my GoPro run out, because I'm filming with my GoPro on a gimbal, an electronic stabilizer, so you get these smooth shots. I can imagine you now see the difference, because I'm just right now holding my smartphone on a little small tripod, and as I'm walking you can see how shaky it actually is. So I apologize for that, but of course I want to finish up this video for you with the best information and value and experiences as possible. So 2013 was again another huge turning point for me, where I had to learn some big lessons, painful lessons I must say, because I thought I was all there, you know, with my little internet business, but yet what I was doing felt again inauthentic, because I was inauthentic. I wasn't really, you know, doing that what I felt really passionate about. Of course I had a little bit of passion, like I came across these books from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was for me like a big eye-opener, like I am on the wrong side of the cash flow quadrants. So eventually when I was making some good money, I still felt empty. I was not fulfilled. I was not fulfilled at all. So eventually that had led me to several spiritual development workshops, and on my blog you'll find a video, what is the unity mind, what is unity consciousness. I there have a video that goes very deep in what was my first experiences about spiritual awakening. But yeah, eventually a year and a half doing these workshops, at the end of 2013, April 2013, I decided to pack my stuff and go to London and start all over, because you know the business was not working anymore for me. I stepped out of my corporate career, so there was no way back for me. I felt off this ladder, I must say, or of societal expectations. So there was no way back for me. So, you know, I had to find a way to make things work again. But I came to London and I was feeling absolutely completely burned out, and I couldn't work for quite a few months until all my savings dried up. But of course I didn't want to work, but I had to. So that again led me to a couple of years of jumping from one thing to another, one job to another. It was not difficult for me to find a job, because I could easily sell myself into something, but again I was even better at selling myself out of it even faster. And again I had so much of resistance, because I believed that I should have a better image a better status for myself. So I really had to learn to humble down, and it took me really quite a few years. And which I also share about the video about, you know, dealing with anxiety. What if you found inner peace? Then what? That also goes a little bit further about what really happened in the last years, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and actually last year, 2017. That was really the year where I found a job that I was okay with, I enjoyed, and it really helped me to, you know, to humble down. It really helped me to humble down, and where I started to experience more inner peace. But of course, that was also a result of doing a lot of personal development, following a lot of various online courses, offline workshops and courses, you name it. So really the big takeaway of this is actually you gotta see yourself, you gotta see your state of being, your consciousness as a glass of water. And sometimes, you know, when you grow up with someone with a narcissistic personality disorder that gave you a very low self-esteem, then you really got to see it like your glass of water is dirty. That's it. It's full of shit, of garbage. And your job is to purify that glass of water. So what you need to do is you need to learn is how to fill up this glass of water with pure light, love, consciousness through meditation and all these kind of practices, you know. You might not have started life very well with a lot of love and attention, and now that part is missing inside of you. Now it's really your job is not to blame, not to put guilt on someone, because that's not really going to help you, but to learn to channel in this love light frequency or vibration, so you can start to purify your glass of water, your state of consciousness. Until you might be asking, well, when I will be finally there, and there's no really any place where you will be finally there, but eventually, you know, until your glass is being purified enough, is healed and cleared enough, and that pure light love consciousness starts to flow over. You know, it starts to flow over to the top of the glass, and it fills, you know, it flows over to the rest of your life, to the rest of your world. And that is really how you can start to impact the life of others, whatever it is for you, because of course also your talents and gifts are a little bit buried under this layer of dirt, and now it's also really your job to dig them up again and to see really what it is. But again, it's really the practice of filling up your own glass, purify it, never stop until you find your flow, until you find your joy, until you can connect again back with your own true authentic self. So anyway, this video is going to be a wrap. I hope you saw some value in this. If so, leave your comments below, like, subscribe, share, and let me know your thoughts if you saw any new insights. I'm going to find my way back to the car park, maybe grab some lunch, and I will see you later. Take care for now. Bye bye.